For this fishing lure, I'm going to wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol. It'll leave it nice and clean and it'll be ready for the next step, and we'll dry that with a hairdryer. You may need to use an adhesion promoter depending on the lures you have, or even sanding. With this lure, we're going to undercoat it with Autoborn Sealer Processed Blue. It's been reduced about 20% with high performance reducer. And we're going to give it a couple of coats, and we're going to dry in between coats. This colour will allow us to get a nice aqua colour over the top of it, and it will look like the ocean. That's why we're using this one. And for the hardware, we're using the Iwata Neo TRN2. It's a 0.5mm, which is best suited to the Autoborn sealers. And it's like a trigger airbrush, so what happens is when you release the trigger, same as a spray gun, the air and the material stops. It's perfect for beginners and advanced airbrush artists alike. I'm wanting this lure to look like ocean colour, so I'm leaving the processed blue for the bottom part of this lure, and on the top section I'm going to use Autowear Colour Semi-Opaque Aqua. I've reduced that by about 10% with high performance reducer, and we're running that through our TRN2, the 0.5mm, and we're just going to go down the full length of the top of the lure and allow it to just blend slightly down the flanks. So I want this fishing lure to glow as it goes through the water column. I want it to be like a holographic effect where every time the sun hits a sparkle it reacts and it just glows. So we're going to use Autowear Colours Silver Spectrum for this, and we're just going to tint over the whole lure, and when this does go through the water column this will be absolutely nuts. We've gone now to our TRN1, which is a 0.35mm. That way we can control the fan pattern, and we've got ourselves the R-Tool stencils, the bubble effect stencils, and they have 4 different ones in the set and a bonus DVD so you can learn how to do bubbles. So you can come up with a myriad of designs here, and what we have done is we've got ourselves a UV glow white from Wicked Colours, and we've picked some random dots and we've sprayed down that as an undercoat. What will happen is as that goes through the water column, the ultraviolet light will pick up on the white and that will glow. You'll see that later in this DVD, where other colours will drop out, so this will still be visible to fish. So over the top of that we're going to go with some Wicked Fluoro Red, and these have all been reduced by about 10% with high performance reducer. We'll do some of the clusters, we won't do all of them, we don't want to bunch it too much. And then we'll come back in, and this is the beauty of 2 airlines, we now got Fluoro Green from Wicked Colours, and we can now tint the rest of those particular dots. Before you go doing the other side, guys, this is a helpful tip for you. Because the paint on the stencil itself is going to be slightly tacky, if you go stick that on the other side of the lure, because you've got to reverse the stencil, it's going to stick to the lure. So if you go to the spray accessories section on the website at airbrushmegastore.com, grab yourself some big wipes, pick out one of those, put a little bit of high performance reducer on it and wipe down your stencil. The paint will come off within 5 to 10 seconds, dry it off. You can now see exactly through your stencil again, perfect for relocating the other side and no paint transfer. It's time to bring these colours to life with clear coat. So the products you've been using, they're all water-based base coats, but they are all automotive grade pigments, which means you can use acrylic lacquer clear, you can use 2-pack clear, you can dip them, you can have a look at YouTube, you will find there's many different ways to clear coat your fishing lures. But for this job, I'm going to use the acrylic lacquer clear that I found at Super Cheap Autos. It's duplicate colour and it works very well with these paints and it doesn't go yellow. A little bit about acrylic lacquer clear. If you've got warm to hot conditions, you can follow the manufacturer's specifications and you'll get a good result. But if you've got cold conditions like we've got now, we've got 2 degrees here right now, which means the substrate temperature of the fishing lure is going to be lower than that. If I try to clear it, what's going to happen is the clear is going to either react and crocodile or it's going to crack. It's not the paint we've put on, it's going to be the clear coat reacting to the cold weather. So what we're going to do is we're going to warm the fishing lure up by putting a fan heater in the area. And then we're going to put on a couple of coats, drying them with a hairdryer in between coats, and that's only going to take 10 to 15 seconds. Then we're going to build up our coats until we get it nice and glossy. Now, if you go for a really saturated coat, it is possible you can get bloom, being the fact that it's so cold, and that is going to be a white tinge. So I suggest you build up your coats medium to wet, and then when you've got it to a stage that you're happy with, call it done. These are the products we use to create our fishing lures, and they're all found at airbrushmegastore.com, except for the acrylic lacquer clear. If you need something and you can't find it, send me an email, info@airbrushmegastore.com. I'm there to answer your questions. But for this kit, we use the Iwata Power Jet Pro. It's strong enough to run all day long. It comes with 2 different air lines on the unit, which means you can run a different air pressure to either side. That is suitable because we wanted to use the Iwata trigger airbrushes. They're both Neos. Why do we use these? Well, being a trigger, when you release the trigger, the airflow and the material stops. So if you're a beginner airbrush artist, you can get great results immediately. If you try to go straight to a trigger airbrush on top of the airbrush, you're going to find that it's going to be harder to use. It's going to take a lot longer to get the knack of it. Don't let that put you off. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But the trigger on the front of the airbrush allows you to get results very quickly. Now, as far as the needle sizes, we used a 0.5mm and a 0.35mm. So the 0.5mm you'd use for your undercoats and your flakes, and the 0.35mm you would use that for doing your more detailed work. So after this, we used the Autoborn sealers as our undercoat. We used Autowear Colors, Wicked Colors and Illustration Colors as our paint job colors. We used V-tape to tape up our designs, and we also used the Autowear Snacks Fishing Lure Stencil Set. Everyone needs to have these. It comes with a multitude of stencils in that set, different sizes. You can create your scales, your gill rakes, multiple designs. I can't see you doing fishing lures without them. And then we used a variety of Artul stencils, which gave us a great deal of different designs. So if you want to get the results that you've seen in this video, grab this gear and you'll get professional results too.